Okay, so I searched YouTube and there were no videos on really how to put together this laser engraving machine. It's the Chinese laser engraving machine, 50 watt, model KH5030, as you see there. So I thought I would put together, my brother and I, a quick video on how to assemble this thing. It's pretty easy. It comes with a lot of parts, a lot of tools, but it's pretty straightforward once you get started. So we're going to start. I'm going over here to the back, and it's actually a few pieces, and probably the busiest part of the machine is here in the back. As you can see, you have your laser tube here. When the book refers to a laser tube, this is what it's referring to. And actually the water from the water pump will flow through this tube, but we'll get to that later. Alright, so from here we have our water pump, which sits down here in the bucket. And how the water pump works, let's start there. We have 3 tubes. The tubes are labeled inlet, outlet, okay? And the inlet and outlet, from the water inlet tube, you trace it all the way down into the bucket, and it's actually going to be the tube that connects down to the water pump on top. And these are just 2 little pieces that actually come. It's a black piece, and then there's a clear piece that goes inside the black piece, and it screws on top. There's a hole, and you just screw them on top into the water pump. And then the outtake tube, it actually flows all the way down into the bucket, and it just sits in the bucket. You don't connect it to anything. It doesn't connect to the water pump. It just sits in the bucket, and it filters the water. Now, as far as connecting these 2 tubes, you simply slide them on. Just make sure they're on securely. Make sure there's no water leaking. It's very important that water flows through into the machine and through the laser bulb. Alright? So, from there, we also connected the air pump. And with the air pump, it also uses the same clear looking tube that we use for our water pump, and it actually connects to the same backing area, okay? And it is labeled air inlet, okay? And you connect it right here to the front of the air pump, and there's a little gold piece that you put inside of this air pump slot right in here, and then you connect the tubing to that small golden piece. And just like the water pump, you want to make sure that it's securely on there. And the water pump and the air pump have their own power cords, so you will need to make sure that they're close to power somewhere in the room. Next, we'll move on to our actual air take, or I should say, this is where all of the smoke that the machine makes, it's going to send it out. And what we did is we simply put this by the window and just let it blow out all the extra smoke. Of course, this machine does come with a fan, and the fan is in the front of this machine. It comes with it. The thing with the fan is when you're indoors, may not be the best option. The book does say if you have a fan, you don't necessarily need to use the big blue tube that I just showed you that goes out the window. However, I recommend it if you are indoors. Definitely use the big blue tube, because this machine does cause a lot of smoke to come when you're engraving. Okay. Inside the machine, we didn't have to do much. So that was pretty straightforward. Everything's already set up. There is paper that comes here on the glass, and this paper could just easily be peeled off because it's on both sides of the glass, but it just looks like it's pretty much on there, but don't let that deter you. You can rip off that paper because you definitely want to be able to see what's happening inside the machine at all times when you're working. So just tear that paper off. It won't damage the glass. The glass is still very clear. And then when you're done, you simply see everything that's going on inside the machine. So that's pretty much the ins and outs. Of course, you just have to make sure you have close power. You definitely want to make sure you have the power cord. And then there's this wire. That we connected. And it's like a yellowish wire here. And it is ground wire. So the ground wire you will connect right here. And it is what it says it is. It's just keeping the machine grounded. So the wire just flows here. And you hook it up to metal. Okay? Just something to ground it. Okay? And if you don't understand that concept, look up a video on grounding. But this is a ground wire joint, and it's a yellow piece. And at the end of this tube, it's a circular piece. And you want to connect that circular piece to metal, any metal. And that'll help you. Over here, we have controls for lifting the platform, for drop platform. We have controls for the laser switch, the air pump, the water pump. So you don't have to keep going to the back and turning things off. You don't have to keep unplugging things. You can simply turn everything off and on, from the machine to the water pump to the laser switch to the air pump. You can turn them all off right here on the control panel, as well as you can link your USB cords and do all your computer controls. But that's it. It's not very difficult, but it just looks like a lot when you first get the machine. I do recommend, if you have any additional questions, just post your questions to this video and leave your comments. Thanks for watching.